Man, that is rough.
But I was like, God damn, that's horrible.
Thank you for the contribution. That's our comedian, Jacob Smith.
Yeah, there it is. Just chew on rocks.
Fuck you. Fuck all of you.
Scoopfest.com. Come hang out with us.
I won't tell that story at Scoopfest.
There you go.
This episode is made possible by our therapy partners, Dirty B, Myra, and Pickett. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that's the man formerly known as Dr. Jim. That's Whitney. I'm Nick.
God damn it.
For some Pod Therapy.
I keep forgetting about
It's
that.
Mr. Joe.
I have to give him my degree for Scoopfest.
And for
put it
life.
on his bar. Yeah, I need to just win it back. What I need
There's,
to do.
I think, a fundamental misunderstanding about this bet that was made.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't about Scoopfest.
No, it it was meant to just be handed
My
over.
PhD.
I'm scared to try to gamble for it back because he's going to take my master's.
Yeah.
He's going to keep getting peeled away.
Nobody
here.
wants your masters.
You don't want a master's in divinity? Is it a master's in divinity?
Wish. Oh, that would be so
That would
cool.
be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to go get one of those, but it's a beast, dude. It's like 96 credits.
Is your master's UNLV or is that Liberty?
Liberty.
Okay.
The doctorate is ASU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went to UNLV freshman and sophomore year. Which,
You only went to undergrad UNLV.
Yeah, let me ask a question to the room really quick. And for those of you who complain that we don't dive right into questions, it's been 7 years. Figure it out. Like, we start with this. All right. What is the definition?
Always start the show again.
Can an alumni be somebody? Do you have to have graduated, finished an institution to call yourself an alumni of that institution? Or can you be an alumni for having attended the institution some number of years, even if you moved away or something like that? Could you call yourself an alumni? How do you feel about that?
My guess would be.
I don't know what the rules are. I'm
I
polling you.
don't either. My guess would be you don't have to graduate.
Yeah, my opinion's with Jacob.
Thank you.
That you
I
can
agree.
just attend.
This is the fight we have because I tried to join the UNLV Alumni Association, but I only went for freshman and sophomore year. They're very kind. They don't care. They're like, great.
According
welcome.
to the Google,
Google's.
alumni is a graduate or former student of a particular school, college, or university.
Thank you, Google.
The term is not synonymous with graduates.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it. So I went, and my wife was giving me a hard time. She's like, why are you going? You're not an alumni. And I'm like, I am an alumni. I went because she holds it over me all the time because she is a graduate. And so she'll be like, well,
we
that's
aren't the
weird because
same.
I don't see UNLV on any of your fucking papers. And also one of them's missing, by the way. I'm like, yeah, well.
So you did
I'm
not
going.
graduate from UNLV?
I did not.
You graduated from Arizona State.
Arizona State. Well,
no,
that's
but
one of them.
Where did you get your bachelor's?
Transferred from UNLV to Liberty after sophomore year. So I did all my gen eds with UNLV. Then I went to Liberty, did a bachelor's in religion. Then I went back to Liberty, did my master's in marriage and family therapy. Then years later, I went to Arizona State University and did the doctorate. So, but I did go to UNLV long enough, as we all agree now, to be considered.
I mean, according to that definition, you are an alumni.
That's the right
and
thing.
I think the thing that you can tell your wife, who is, as we all know, horrible.
Yes, just a monster.
We hate her.
Just a monster.
Yeah.
I knew I liked her.
I think you could just say, like, there's a different word for it. You're a graduate of UNLV. I'm not a graduate of UNLV. I'm an alumni.
I'm not trying to join the graduate association.
That's right.
I'm just trying to hang with the alumni so I can go to these sporting events not on my own.
Yeah.
You get to hang with
I feel
alumni
very
every
validated.
night.
Thanks,
I think everyone knows how much I hate saying this, but Jim, I think you're just right on this one.
Ding, ding, ding!
Oh,
yeah!
man.
Come on, everybody! We did it!
Yeah.
Woo!
Man.
Ugh, it hurts to hear.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Scoopfest.com.
doesn't feel right to
Nick's
say.
face
Go to
is very
scoopfest.com.
disgusted.
Buy tickets. Come hang out with us in May. We are all going to be live
bad
in Las
taste in my
Vegas
Yeah.
for a fun, action-packed week in Las Vegas. If you want to hang out with us, come meet everybody. Come meet a ton of our podcasting friends. There's going to be trivia battle showdowns. We're facing off against those damn morning murder girls all over again. It's going to be escape rooms and live
Bag of
improv
bitches.
comedy and whiskey and barbecues and lots of fun shit. So come check it out, scoopfest.com.
Fun shit.
Grab tickets. If you're a local,
Weirdly
you don't even
good
need
shows.
hotels. Oh, it's going to be a great time.
Like
There's
there
live
are insanely
entertainment,
good live entertainment
tons
things
of
happening
fun
at this thing.
and it's just basically a 3-day party.
Yes.
Can you?
It is so much fun.
Can you tell us any of the live entertainment that's going to?
I can tell you the
Top
one
secret.
No, I mean the things have been released.
It's so much fun, and it's basically this live show at the Orleans.
I just have to find
we
one
do
of the
live
schedules that I have somewhere.
podcasts. There's big celebrities that come that have headlining shows in Vegas that make appearances, and then you get to hang out with us. We all go to the bar afterward. We go get restaurant time, and we're not like behind plexiglass. Like we're hanging out with you the whole time, and it's a lot of fun. And we do karaoke. Last year I sang Tribute by Tenacious D.
Let's see.
And
There
I killed.
is.
I'm going to be honest. I fucked it up. It was just really good. I ran that room.
Wrecked it.
Oh, I can tell you this. So the Thursday night, there's a musical show happening that night with performer Sarah Hester Ross.
Oh yes.
So she's going to do a show that night.
She's the live piano person.
That's right.
At the Dueling Pianos bar.
Millions,
So talented.
millions
Very
and
cool.
millions of social media
so
follows
fun.
and all this kind of stuff.
She's hilarious.
So she's a killer.
Okay.
Then Friday. There is, let's see here. Sorry, I didn't realize this was going to be a quiz.
Scoopfest.com. You can see the whole
there's a
agenda.
variety show on Friday. I won't tell you all the performers in that, but there are. It's a murderer's row lineup of performers on
Tons
there.
of fun.
Awesome.
Friday
Turns
night.
out, when you're a Vegas entertainer,
You
know a
people.
lot of other people.
There will
who
be
are willing
live
to come to your
magic.
events.
There will be
So
live
that's
music. There's going to be live improv. Last year
no
there was
one-
burlesque.
no
there was
one
a
knows-
shitload of burlesque.
Oh, there's going to be
last
some
year.
burlesque at this one as well.
Fuck yes.
Some award-winning burlesque performers performing at this one.
my
Awesome.
gosh.
Not as many as last year. Last year we felt like we were
There
like
was an embarrassment of nudity last year.
we felt like we had like one too many burlesque performers last year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was tapped out.
There's a
At
limit.
some point,
You felt like
I needed a
You
were-
Gatorade and a nap.
Do you want to go on the record and say who that one was?
There's one that tipped
It
over
was
the
Joe.
scale. Yeah,
It was Joe.
yeah. I was the uncompensated performer. But you know what? I danced my heart.
That's why
out.
he needed the gator.
That's right. Yeah, it's just
But then
working
also
my
Friday-
ass off. Of
Friday
it.
night is the Foolers Live. So the Foolers tour that toured the country, made up of people who appeared on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. The whole show. We have all the performers coming in that
gosh.
did the tour, and so we're gonna do that.
Huge night. It's gonna
Let's
be
see.
so much fun.
On Saturday, we're doing Penn Sunday School on Saturday.
And Gillette coming down to perform
Yep.
live for everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Also, Saturday is there's Morning Murders versus Pod Therapy happening on Saturday.
Yep, we got trivia battle where we can smoke those chicks
Yep.
again.
And
It's just
the
getting
last
terrible.
event of Scoop Fest, as it is every year, the Jock versus Nerd Ball.
Yes.
Where
Oh,
people
that's
dress
so
up
much
as
fun.
different
Do you
characters
dress
from the
up?
show.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Last
so people-
year, Jim's Batmom. That was a
There were
very
several
popular
Batmoms.
costume. Yep.
Yep.
Very solid. It was a
I
good
believe
one.
there was even a Nick.
Yep.
Wasn't there a Nick?
Yep.
Was there?
Am I
How
making
many
that up?
mental fit shirts are there?
Yeah, right. There's going to be a few.
There's going to be a few mental fit
that's
shirts.
true.
So if you're out there and you're like, I really like this podcast. I feel like I'm friends with these folks. Could I justify going to Las Vegas to go to a podcast
Yes.
convention and hang out with them? Fuck yes, you can.
Oh, and you can get cheap rooms at the Orleans. So if you're getting hotel rooms, stay at the Orleans where the event is happening.
Yes.
And when you call
very
them,
affordable hotel.
yes, already very affordable.
Yeah, but still a Vegas hotel.
Yep.
Off the strip.
There's all
easy
kinds of
get
stuff to do. We do it at the Orleans in large part because there is a shit ton of things to do
so
at the
much.
Orleans. There are a lot of
Restaurants in
different
there,
restaurants. There's
sushi,
bowling. There is a movie theater there.
Yep, bingo. We need to
it's
fucking
next
play
door
bingo
to-
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
Bingo
fun.
kicks ass.
It's
Let's go
right
play
next
bingo
door
tonight.
to a great
I've
Irish
never played
pub.
bingo.
that
You've
we
never
go
played
to.
bingo?
No, not like live bingo. At
Guys,
All right,
bingo tonight.
Shut up for a second.
Oh, yeah, Scoop Fest.
SCFE24P.
That's the code.
SCFE24P is the code to get cheap tickets for the
Yep.
Orleans. And if you call them and just tell them
You gotta
you're
just
with
call
Scoop
them.
Fest,
Yeah. That's
because
the easiest
apparently
way.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there.
Yeah.
but apparently there's been confusion on their end. So
Just
literally
call.
today, Matt, one of my co-hosts on ICS, just sent them the entire list of everybody who's bought tickets to be like, cross-reference this with the people who have hotel
Here.
rooms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give them discounts.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
Because y'all fucked up.
Yeah.
So if you
But
call
in
book time,
in fairness to them, they're working to fix their fuck up.
Yep,
They know
the
they
whole
fucked up.
conference is there. It's hundreds of people that are fans of Ice Cream Social And we've been fortunate to have a huge crossover with them, so it's just a bunch of people that love all the same stuff that
For the
you
people
love.
coming to the barbecue,
gonna
we
be
haven't
fun.
said, and I'm not going to say
Oh.
now, but there is entertainment at the barbecue
that's
this year.
right.
We have not had entertainment at the last barbecue.
I'm gonna do
Ooh,
burlesque.
So
intrigue.
that's a new
I'm
one.
doing barbecue
and
burlesque.
it's a
I knew it. I'll bring
It's
the Gatorade.
really good.
it's quite a coup.
It's going to be fun. The
Yep.
tour de force, as they say.
Yep.
It's going to be a great time. So
The
check
person
it out.
the person who will be providing entertainment is leaving their show. I don't even know if I should say this, but they're like leaving the showroom that they perform in on the Las Vegas Strip and coming straight to the barbecue,
yeah.
and then going back. Yeah, no, it's a
These
whole
are
thing.
these are headliners. This is
Okay.
Vegas, baby.
So
we don't
you
fuck
heard
around.
it here. You heard it here. David Blaine will be
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
At-
yeah.
at Jacob's
Steve
party.
Wynn will be
Yeah.
doing stand up.
He's going to juggle.
David Copperfield.
It's gonna be great.
Steve Wynn
That's right.
as David Blaine.
As Chris Angel.
Yeah,
as
Chris
Johnny
Angel,
Osmond.
yeah.
Oh, Donnie would have been
Doing
a good one.
burlesque.
Donnie
Dude,
would have been a
Donnie
good idea.
Osmond, if
It
he
would've been
just
good.
if you randomly karaoke machined and just put Donnie on there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mormons,
Oh, that would have been so much fun.
Ah, that would have been a good idea.
That honestly.
what if it's too late to get
that's
Donnie to come
notes,
do something?
Give him a
Notes for
call.
next
Give him a
year.
call.
No, he's got nothing going on.
He's
Get him a call.
available. Yeah, except for that show he does.
He's
every
just fucking charming.
Yeah.
Donnie is just the nicest person you've ever met.
night. Bring Donnie.
course he is. He's
sounds like
Mormon.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or LDS.
Utah.
Sorry, LDS. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're charmers.
They are. They are the nicest people.
They are.
Is it Utah? Is that how you say Utahns?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Utahns.
Utah.
It feels right. I'll go
that
with
does.
it. Utants. Utes.
Utants. Utes.
Utes. I think that's it.
That's it.
What is a Ute?
I believe it's Utants. Anyway, scoopfest.com. You still have time before this thing kicks off. It's in mid-May. It's going to be a hell of a time. We're all going to be there. We all cleared our clinical calendars. All of our clients are fucked, but we're showing up, and we're getting
cares?
I'm
if
even
they need
missing
us.
the Rolling
It'll be
Stones concert that's going to be in town.
Wow,
that
that's
Saturday night.
commitment to your
I know
own
my
company.
stepmom really wanted to come see that. I was like, I can't go with you if you come.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm busy.
Stones. Oh, man.
I think I'm going to try and go see them in L.A. I think they're in L.A. in July.
Oh, okay.
So me and a college friend are going to go see them then. That's the plan.
I just today, and then we'll get into the show.
Oh, yeah, we still have to do that show.
Just today, I spent over $400
Ooh.
on WNBA tickets.
Oh,
Season tickets?
did you get seasons?
No.
One game.
What?
Oh,
Is
the
Caitlin in it?
Indiana game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the game that
wow.
Caitlin Clark will be in
Not
Vegas.
only that,
Damn.
but Kate Martin from Iowa
Uh-huh.
got drafted by the Aces.
Oh, good.
So I'm like, I'm going to that game.
Hell yeah.
The game, okay, so cheapest tickets for that game, $211.
Damn, dude.
Is it here? Or in,
Yeah, here.
It's here.
T-Mobile Arena.
They play the LA Sparks 4 days earlier
Yeah.
in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
Guess how much the cheapest ticket
And-
for that game
Oh,
is?
because they moved-
$20.
Because they moved the game
Down.
No.
'Cause they moved-
$10.
Down.
No.
They give you $10.
$8. $8. It jumps in 4 days.
Oh.
It goes from $8 to $211.
That's the Caitlin
And they moved
effect.
it too, because isn't that at T-Mobile Arena?
No, not on the ticket I bought.
That's still at
Fuck, I hope
that's
it's
still at
not, 'cause
Mandalay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's-
Because I know there
damn.
was at least talk of them of moving a couple of the games against Caitlin Clark's team to a bigger arena.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That is a lot.
that's Clarkonomics.
Well, good. Hey.
She generated 83.2 or something like that $billion in the Iowa economy.
Wow.
Good for
God.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say good for her. It's not especially
She don't
good
get
for
a
her.
taste
Yeah,
of
I
that.
don't think she gets any of that, but yeah,
Damn.
insane.
Yeah, she was offered $5 million to stop and just go hang out with the exhibit or whoever.
Ice Cube,
Yeah, that guy.
That's insane.
Wow.
which I guess is still on the table.
I'd take it. Shit.
Fuck yeah. I'll take that today, by the way.
I saw that when she got drafted, she immediately hugged Jake from State Farm and put a hat on his head. And I guess that was like a marketing bit. It
Oh.
worked.
No, I didn't see that.
Now,
So they
now,
just cut her a check.
yeah, now Jim has State Farm.
Honestly, dude, that'd be so effective. Like if I could just get a marketing deal where I just randomly hug Jake from State Farm, like at any event. Just, what's up, everybody? Hi, Jake.
I don't know how that's beneficial to State
Apparently, he pays people to hug him. It's not about that.
Oh my God, they got Jim from Pod Therapy. Oh, they're doing so good.
Not everything's about money. Sometimes people just need a hug. Maybe they just want a hug. I give good hugs.
Okay, so State Farm,
gosh.
Jim's available.
Celebrated hug.
Let them know.
I'll wait patiently by the phone.
Calls are coming in now. The telephone. All right, we've got some great questions today, and I am again in charge of trivia.
Oh, boy.
So it's going to get fucking crazy in here.
I want 10 inches in my mouth.
I forget that he has all these drops. Imperfect diets from Theraproducer. Heyo! Heyo! It's Heyo! From Patreon. I have more of a prompt than a question to follow. If you're all willing, I would love to hear everyone's
not.
thoughts on their personal relationship with food and why you all don't have perfect diets. As therapists, don't you guys have all the secrets to behavior change and avoiding things like emotional eating? How do you deal with being imperfect? How and when do you nudge yourself in the right direction? Thanks for everything y'all do. I love hearing you guys talk about everything and anything. Signed, Heyo!
There we go.
Okay, well, if you love hearing us talk about everything and anything, this was a good
I was
episode
just
to tune into.
Yeah, you enjoyed your Patreon. You know, it's crazy. So at UNLV, when we have the students on like the big staff meeting day, we do sometimes like a training thing on a random topic.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the phone call.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I need to set that up. Yeah, we'll talk. Anyway, thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So we had a professor come in and do a talk on eating disorders. And one of the big things that, which I really appreciated, because I think when we all think of eating disorders, a lot of times we're thinking about like, you know, binging and purging and just sort of like, you know, bulimia and anorexia. Like you think about like really unhealthy weights. But she was really trying to steer our attention. She was an expert on eating disorders, and she was really trying to steer our attention away from just body weight and mass, because that's like a
pretty
really
old school,
subjective
yeah.
measurement. And she was really trying to get people to think about the way we sometimes experience a loss of control around food. And like that being the way that they're training us now to like ask questions surrounding the relationship with food and how like, so that's what happens a lot. It isn't
That
just
makes sense.
binging cycles.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes like you almost enter a trance where you're just like, oh shit, I've put down like 5,000 calories today and like I'm still going. And
Yeah.
that imperfect diet is for real.
That, for the most part, that is what I work with my clients on when we do talk about eating. We talk about not just like, oh, I'm eating too much, or I have too many calories, or I'm eating unhealthy foods, or what I quote, quote unquote, bad food.
Right.
But it's more about the relationship that you have with that food.
That's interesting.
Like, what is this
Like
doing?
food journaling a little bit, like just trying to bring mindfulness.
But really, the thing that I always talk about is I kind of have an approach of like, I want you to think of eating as there's two different types of eating. There's refueling, and then there's entertainment or pleasureful
Okay.
All right.
eating. Okay. And I strictly do not use terms like good and bad
Okay.
when I work with my clients.
Yeah.
Because they can both be good.
Mm-hmm.
They can both be bad.
Mm.
But it really kind of depends on, it's really about the proportion of those. And then also, is it being used as a coping skill?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're, the way that I like to imagine it too is like if you had like 2 jars, or 3 jars. You have an empty jar, and then you've got a jar full of green marbles and a jar full of red marbles.
Mm-hmm.
And the red is eating for pleasure, and the green is eating to refuel. Well, most of my clients, when we start working together, the jar that they're pouring into the empty jar, they're just putting red marbles in there.
Right.
And it's full of red marbles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just fistfuls of red marbles.
Exactly. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to slowly, let's take some of the reds out and let's put some
Replace
greens
them.
in.
Okay.
And then we're slowly just doing that so that eventually we get to a point where we've got more green than red.
Right.
I don't want to eliminate food for pleasure,
Yeah.
because that is important.
Right.
We should be enjoying food.
Sometimes you pleasure yourself with a donut.
Did we get that timestamp?
Yep, got it.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, there's
Also, why I was thrown out of Duncan.
there's there's a
sense.
place for that, and I don't want, because if you completely eliminate that, then you're miserable.
Yeah.
And then you can't stick to whatever plans you have anyway.
That's
Yeah.
not why I'm miserable.
But we also need to understand that, like, if you are getting into an exercise program, your body needs good fuel to continue to operate. And if you're not putting good, here I'm using good in there again.
Sure, yeah.
But,
How dare you.
what I'm, you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, if we're not putting good quality fuel in our engine, then we can't expect our engine to function at the way it's supposed to.
Right. But I like that too, because I think two things about that. It's a progress, not perfection mentality. It allows for there to be red marbles, but it's really just trying to replace the space, right? I'm just trying to fill I'm not trying to get you to stop eating. I'm trying to get you to eat intentionally.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want you to put in the stuff that's going to be useful for your work, and now that we're building your body. And I have a feeling that if we can just fill that space enough with the good stuff or the effective stuff or useful stuff, you'll find that there's just less jar for the red marbles, and you'll just by nature stop having them as much, which is really interesting. And I like the reframe too, that it's not a moral judgment. There is so much shame and guilt, I think, with like food and like what we've eaten and what we order. Like we are out with friends, like, oh no, I really want this, but like I don't want to be the one who gets that. I feel like anytime I go out with people, when people ask each other, like, what are you getting? What are you getting? I always feel like that's the underlying tone of that question. It's sort of like, do I have social permission to get something that I really want? Are you going to get something? Are we going to
see,
be
when
bad?
people ask me, I'm like, fuck you, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, it's a surprise. I'm going to
Because
whisper
like,
it to
I don't
the
want
waiter.
you copying me.
That's right.
Don't you try to copy
Jacob's
my order.
covering his food
Yeah.
like the prison people.
That's it.
How do you? Okay, when you go to like large,
Thank you.
Jacob, you seem like the kind of guy that if you go to like large family or friend events, where Buca well, that's an obvious one. You're at any given restaurant, okay?
Okay.
Do you share? Will you be like, have a bite of this duck? Have a bite of this. You got to try this. This is delicious.
If somebody
Why is it
wants
gotta be
some, then
that?
sure.
Does somebody have to ask, or will you like say to people, "Oh my goodness,
you wanna
this steak
try
is so
this?
good. Who would like a bite of this?"
Maybe if they comment on it, I might then
Somebody,
offer.
that looks delicious. They
Yeah.
just say, "Would you like a bite?"
That's it.
Okay. What about you, Whitney?
It doesn't occur to me to just offer unprompted.
Are you a
neither.
sharer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely am, but I mean, like Nick can attest, I'm not like usually offering the same thing
Open
as
your
Jacob.
mouth.
Yeah.
Put this in
Yeah.
right now.
That's
Did
a
we get that
separate
one too?
that's, like-
Timestamp.
Damn it.
that's a separate conversation.
That's after dinner. That's the after dinner mint.
But no, I love like I was just in Louisiana on a trip with some girlfriends, and I'm like, hey, do y'all want to order like a couple platters and we can split this so we can try like all the amazing food that New Orleans has to offer. So yeah, I'm definitely like, I think I said that up front, I'm kind of a sharer. I love sharing.
But it sounds like for you, and this I think makes a lot of sense. It's not just, oh, please enjoy my thing. I have a thing I want everybody to try. It's also like, ooh, let's all sample. Like I want to get a bunch
Yeah,
of
I'll do
bites
that
of lots
too.
of things.
I will have like cut off a piece of something
I
if they want to.
can't do that. And I get really frustrated whenever I go out with other people. And this
And they
drives
wanna
my
try your
family crazy. So we have a huge family. And so like we've done the math on this. We all get together so often for various kids' birthdays or special holidays. I did the math and it's like 30 something weekends a year. There's
Holy
only 52
shit.
weeks.
That's too many.
That's a
is
fuck
too
ton.
many.
And anytime we all go to restaurants,
to blend some of
the
those.
family all does this thing. They all check with each other. What are you getting? Oh, you're going to get that? I was going to get that. Now I'll go get this other thing.
So I can try yours.
So they can all trade, and everybody's running around swapping. And then I get teased because I'm over here leaned over mine, like protecting, like, no, I ordered precisely what I want, and I want all of what I ordered. This is mine. I don't give a shit about all. And they're like, no, try this. I'm like, no, I don't fucking want it. I ordered the chicken. I want this chicken and only this chicken. Piss off.
Are you a
Like,
picky eater?
I don't know. Picky in the way that like 5-year-olds are picky. So like I want mac and
So
cheese
yes.
and like chicken
I was like,
chicken nuggets.
sounds like that's a
just a yes.
simple answer.
Yeah, I just want like my favorite things, and that's it. So yes.
No, I do know people like that. Like
don't like
I've
to try
had
new
friends
things either.
whose partners or whatever, they're like, oh, they won't share. Like even it's their like dating
I ordered
person,
this.
yeah, and they're like,
This
they
is
will
mine.
not share.
I
I'm
don't
like,
want to. Yeah, no,
that's
I'm
such a
good.
bizarre,
it's
thought process
It's very
to me.
judgy, and you know what?
Well, you already said I'm a
concur
bitch.
with that.
I'm just living up to your
This is true.
expectations.
Now that you've got your new merch. Oh, check out the new Whitney merch. We
Yeah.
didn't say that on the main show. PodTherapyBaitShop.com. Whitney now has merch. which you have time to buy before Scoop Fest. You could be the one of a kind. We're in that Pew Pew, Texas.
Something we didn't bring up that kind of came to mind for me is the addiction aspect of food. And so, like, it's curious to me. It's like, oh, the Heyo is saying,
Heyo.
oh, we have all these secrets to like behavior change. And yeah, we can like work on thought processes and how to change our narrative in our head and all of that. But really, there is an aspect to food that can be addictive.
Right.
And I mean, even scientifically, like sugar and all of that, it's like,
Dude, try to eat one Pringles.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean,
Jacob can, but he's like a monk.
Cravings are intense, very intense, and like a serious deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of the old school way of like, you know, how they used to say, if somebody wasn't sure if they were addicted to something, the old school way of dealing with that is like, okay, well, eliminate it and see what happens.
Sugar's the number one thing. I feel like people, my favorite example of this is when Peter and I lived in Costa Rica for a year. We would take the bus, public transit everywhere. Uber didn't exist back then. That's how long ago it was. So you could take a little taxi somewhere, but we're like, we don't want to pay for that. So we would get like fresh meat, fresh fruit, all fresh veggies, all from like walkable or short bus ride places from us, or on my way home from like the little teaching job I had. So every day I'd be walking to the bus, take the bus on the way home, come back, get like like chicken, whatever. And it was all like normal sized chicken breasts and things like that. I'm like, oh, they're not massive? Okay.
Is this the size chickens really
How
are?
much steroids do you feed your chickens? Surprisingly not.
So then once every like 3 months, we would go to, it's not called Costco, but it's Costco down there.
Gotcha.
And we would pay the taxi guy. We get there. We'd get like the Costco pizzas. We'd get like 2 of them and bring them home and freeze them. That was like what you could warm up for your little splurge meal. And we get like a bag of these Hershey's chocolates. And that would just be like the only splurges we would have, other than maybe on Friday nights, we'd like walk up to this restaurant that had burgers like overlooking the valley. So like those were all our splurge nights. I swear I lost like 15 pounds and not trying to. It was not trying to. But my favorite was always like rampaging around when there was no sugar in the house and you like wanted a little bit. I'm like, we don't have anything. I'll eat my pineapple over here, I guess. But oh my gosh. And then coming back, how different. I had like a Twix. I loved Twix like growing up. And coming back after a couple months, I was like, oh, a Twix at my mom's house. It's disgusting.
Oh, wow. Because you'd like detox?
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is like plastic or something. I was like, this is not good.
Wow.
Even having the little Hershey bits, it just still was different. I don't know. Yeah. So it really enlightened me into how when you take something out of your diet, it's so hard to do that. We're surrounded and inundated with, commercials and outings and, all this holidays. And it's like, you can tell even after holidays, usually you've eaten like cookies, cakes, pies, and it's like, man, it's hard to get back off that train once it starts going. For me at least, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you had to live in a foreign country to be able to eliminate stuff like that.
Yes, I've never been able to do it since.
Country?
I know. It's
my God, Jim.
Turns out.
I thought it was one of ours.
Hold on.
What?
Costa Rica doesn't belong to us?
What continent?
Wait a minute. Where's Costa Rica?
Where is Costa Rica?
It's over by
Jim?
Jamaica, right?
Where
in
is
the
it?
world is Costa Rica?
It's over by Jamaica, like underneath Florida.
I mean, it's closer.
Technically, it's below Florida.
Is it not an island?
No.
It is not.
Oh, never mind then. I'm thinking of something
You're
else.
thinking of Puerto Rico.
Probably.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
sounds
one of
like
those
Puerto
islands
Rico.
over by Jamaica.
It's not an island, no.
That I thought was ours.
Yeah.
But it's like we own it, but like they're not a state.
It's a U.S. territory.
But yeah, you literally had to go somewhere else to live a whole different lifestyle. And
Damn. I've heard that too. Like I've talked to folks that lived in the States and like then maybe moved abroad and spent some years, in another place. And it's wild. They just drop weight because their relationship to food it becomes less available. Like you can eat, but like you're going to walk now, to like location and you're going to get sensible amount of food and then walk home.
Yep.
It's not like they're just driving and like pulling through a McDonald's and like getting a combo.
Oh, and that was the other thing. Even if you wanted to go to like McDonald's or Domino's or something, it was exorbitantly more. Or when we'd go to the grocery store for something, I remember like a box of like Velveeta mac and cheese. I used to love that. And this was a decade ago, okay, like, or more actually now. Over a decade ago, a box of Velveeta mac and cheese was like $5 for the whole box. Yeah, like 10 years ago. So it was just like you paid so much more to eat crappy. And the chicken and veggies, we'd spend like on our groceries $9 a week or something like that, maybe 15, like on chicken, vegetables, fruits. Coconuts were like 50 cents to drink a coconut on your way home. I was like, okay. Coconut water, sorry, from the young coconuts. But yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing.
I mean, and I think the other thing too that makes this incredibly difficult, and I know that this isn't just an American thing, but I think we definitely exploit this quite a bit, is that food is like the biggest struggle that I always have with food is that it's never just about eating food. It's always associated with something else.
Oh yeah, it's an event. It's a mood.
Oh yeah.
And so if I'm trying to, eliminate certain things, certain foods out of my diet, it always comes up when I'm doing an activity. Like okay, there's a game on TV that I want to watch.
Yeah.
I have to sit here and not eat
that's
something.
the worst.
Yeah.
It's so
that's
hard.
The worst.
Well,
Or celebrating something like, something happened.
Let's get pizza.
What do you do instead?
Like, we gotta do something.
We'd go out to eat someplace.
Yeah.
We'd go celebrate.
I have literally been on my way home from the studio and late at night, and I'm like, I'm not really tired. I think I'm going to watch like Brooklyn Nine-Nine when I get home. And I'll tell myself, I'm gonna sit down and watch some Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then I'm like, I'm just going to sit there in an empty room and watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like I have nothing to eat. And I'm like, well, I better stop by like the taco place and just get like some fries or something so I have something to eat when I'm not fucking hungry at all. Like it's just, I feel weird. Like my dog's gonna fucking judge me and just be like, well, look at this fucking loser just sitting here.
Well, what were
no
you
food.
like modeled, or like what were your eating habits modeled for you growing up? I mean, we talked about the Scotcheroos.
I'll tell you about Iowa. Let me tell you about the Midwest.
Your Snicker salad and all your bullshit.
I mean,
good lord,
just never.
The healthiest thing Nick ate was the hobo stew.
Yeah,
Right.
It really
Made of real
was.
hobos.
It really was. It's funny because like I never realized how just inundated with sugar we were until we moved
syrup.
out, and then I took Laura there, and she was just like
In a coma.
Are you shitting me? Cinnamon rolls and Mountain Dew, and
For
then
breakfast?
like it's not even 8 a.m. Like what are we doing? So,
dude, do you remember Cinnabon at the mall?
Oh.
Just a fucking cake.
How
It was
much?
a whole plate,
And you ate it
of
like
just
every time.
big-ass cinnamon
That or Annie's pretzels or
Splattered.
whatever.
Oh.
Or the cookies.
A few months ago, SJ, my wife went by, I think it was a Cinnabon, but it was something like that. It was a Cinnabon type place. She gets home and she's like, I brought you a cinnamon roll. She then opened up a small box, the size of a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. Typical.
She opened up a small box, and inside there was a cinnamon roll the size of a softball.
Yes.
Like it was a big fucking cinnamon roll.
Melted cream all over it.
Nope. Covered in chunks, along with the icing. So along with the liquid sugar icing that's already on there. Chunks of cookie dough.
Oh God.
I was like, what is this?
No, that sounds fantastic.
I had like 3 bites of it, and it was delicious.
Oh, did you
That's
bring
all
some?
you could do.
But I was
Bring
like,
it here.
I could do 3. No, this was like 4 months ago.
You can still bring it here.
Yeah, it's probably still fine. But I was like,
preserved.
I was like, this was delicious. Feel free to have a bite because I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. Hey yo, here's the biggest problem that I have, and it's people like as Jacob was
let's
just
tell all
talking
our
about.
personal issues with food.
Yeah. As Jacob was just talking about, or Whitney alluded to earlier, having something that's like so sweet and so rich and so dense that you can't finish it. I have no idea what that's like. That doesn't even register in my brain. Like I can't. I don't stop.
You're not a one bite
If it's
person.
still if there's still some left.
Me neither.
I keep going.
Yeah, right.
Like I eat until
Done
it's
when
gone.
it's done.
Or
Yeah,
I'm
that's
miserable
right.
and literally physically cannot eat
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, also
And
like
it
the
really
clean your
is.
plate mentality of
Well,
like you're
absolutely.
ungrateful and a bad child if you don't finish it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were taught
Yeah.
that you have to finish your plate.
Yeah.
You know? And the other thing too is like, I mean, to kind of bring it full circle back to addiction, it's like that old saying for, in Alcoholics Anonymous where like one's too many and 1,000's never enough.
Oh,
It's
man.
like, for me, it's that way with food too. Like certain
Yes.
foods, like
yes.
it's really tough. But
Can't have just a little bit of that.
I found all these little techniques that help me
Ooh,
because
tell me.
Yeah,
Go
no,
on.
take notes.
because I don't want to eliminate a lot of this stuff from my life. But I want to find ways that I can kind of control it. So number one, the thing that I found that's been very helpful is finding substitutes that are a little bit better.
Green marbles.
Yeah. So
Been eating a lot of green
even
marbles.
I would even call them like gray marbles because they're not really nutritiously beneficial.
Okay, they're just filler.
They're just filler. They're
Okay.
just less harmful.
harm reduction.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I say, when I always call like Coke Zero, the methadone of like soda,
Yeah.
it's you're going to be okay with it, but
Yeah.
it's not great,
Yeah.
It's not nearly as much fun.
Exactly.
But you won't get the kicks.
Yeah, but I won't get,
Won't kill you.
But like, my new thing now are those popcorners.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
chips?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
They're
God,
yummy.
those are so
I love popcorn
good.
in general, and those are
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Those are so good. So, but here's the thing, like I'll open a bag, I will eat that until that bag's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't buy
So-
Oreos for that reason.
Oh,
Yes.
Oreos are the devil.
The
Yes.
whole fucking bag.
Oh,
I
yes.
will like
I do that
shamefully
too.
2 days later be like, what
It's
the fuck,
gone.
Whitney?
What
What's
have
wrong
I
with
done?
me?
What happened?
Who am I?
So I cannot buy them.
yeah.
So
Cannot.
here's what I've done.
Well, you
though.
know what's also like that fucking Girl Scout cookies.
I can't
Oh,
buy
yeah.
those
Mints,
either.
you eat them by a sleeve.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you get them in a column. Like they come out in a column in the box. And then once you open it, you can't put
Yeah.
them back
No.
in the box.
Well, yeah, I mean,
meant to be in sleeves.
they come in sleeves like that because it's supposed to slide down your throat that way. That's
you
how
can't reclose that
Yeah.
bag, and so you just have to eat all
I
those
can't.
cookies.
You're so
Oh,
right, Jim.
I do have to. One thing I do is I plan for my late night meal.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I've got to work because I will, as much as I say like, oh, like I won't eat past a certain time or whatever. I get home most nights right around midnight.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm gonna eat something. I'm gonna have a meal.
Yeah.
And so I'll plan for that late night meal. And so what I'll do a lot of times is like if I make a dish that has rice in it, I will make a bunch of extra rice.
Hell
And
yeah.
just have a thing of rice in the fridge.
Yep.
And then I can take like I'll warm up a bowl of rice and then take like half a can of tuna fish.
Okay.
And just mix that in with the rice.
There you go.
Dude,
Little
I do the
casserole.
same thing, except I'll do brown rice, and then like I'll get the tuna little packets.
Yeah, I'm still just stuck on the white rice. I can't
I
get off the white
know.
rice.
White
Yeah,
rice
yeah.
is so good.
Yeah.
That's just,
No,
I do
it-
like
it
black
is
rice
good.
actually, but I'm not good at
Wild
making
rice
black
is
rice.
good.
I don't
Wild
really
rice
see
is good.
color.
Oh yeah,
Um,
black rice. Water rice is good. Yeah.
No, but I'll take like
All rice
the
matters.
flavored tuna. So like the oh, he's gonna get hit.
No! Damn it.
Left
Like the
hand.
flavored tuna, there's like a sweet and spicy
Oh, okay.
flavor stuff, and I'll
cool.
put that like over the rice.
Oh no,
So
I
you
just
sounds
buy the
delicious.
tuna cans in bulk at Sam's.
There you
So
go.
They don't have the flavored stuff in
Tuna's
bulk.
good.
yeah.
Tuna's good.
Yeah.
Star
But,
Kiss.
That's a
so-
good idea.
Sponsor the show.
So what I've done is I've decided I'm not going
I
to
only
take...
buy the dolphin unsafe tuna.
Yeah,
though.
specifically.
Fuck
Yeah.
those dolphins.
Yeah. SeaWorld
Why
Prime.
are the dolphins special?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
Who
they're
is it?
supposed to be
Who is
smart.
it?
Get out of the fucking nets, you idiots.
Dennis Leary did a bit on this back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
When it
I
was...
vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, when he was like,
By that
People were
sentence, I
like-
mean I vaguely remember the 80s.
Yeah, but people were like, "Oh, don't eat the tuna because the dolphins are getting trapped in nets." And he's like, "What about the fucking tuna? Like, no one cares about the tuna. Why are we?"
They're purposely getting trapped in the nets.
Anyway, what I've started doing is
Oh,
now.
but if I don't do that, that means that I'm like stopping by Taco Bell or something like
Right.
that.
If
yeah.
you don't
For sure.
pre-plan
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I know I've got a thing of rice at home. Great.
I wish you wouldn't have
And, like,
mentioned Taco
That's
And
Bell.
I'm
true.
happy with it. I'm like, as long as I know
You
that
know
it's there.
something's there. Yeah.
Because also for me, that late night thing, it's like, it's a time thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to be able to get home and I want to be able to have food within a few minutes.
Yeah.
Minimal trouble, minimal effort.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I've got something at the house. Great. I've even
you
got like a
have
little pizza or something like that.
preparation is really the key.
Oh, that's
to
a
all
huge
this.
piece of it.
But so anyway,
All right, Nick.
Yeah, go back.
my technique.
Oh yeah.
I'll just take a bowl and I'll pour it into the bowl, whatever I'm going to have.
Cookies.
So I never take Yeah. I will put cookies in a bowl.
I see
where
for
you're going with
portions.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I never take a package into the living room.
Game over if you do
Exactly.
that. Mm-hmm.
No, so I will take.
And then
I will
go fill the bowl
get a
the
portion.
I
second
see what
time.
you're doing.
Yeah.
I put it away. Yeah, and then I get up and then I refill it.
Yeah. Like a gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because
Classic.
That's what
here's the
separates
thing.
us from the animals.
Is that I eat from this bowl.
But again, like the point is, this preparation is the most important thing. So
I like that.
you have to know what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to kind of play this game against yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm lazy.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
using
So if I'm-
laziness.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so if I'm
wise.
sitting down on the couch
like
and the
that.
bowl's empty,
I'm not getting up.
yeah. Or I will say like, okay, I will, but then I wait.
And you have time to think about it. Like, if I
Exactly.
get up, that
Yeah.
means I've eaten more than I wanted to. It's like you have time to sit and think on it.
And then
Like,
also, I can my body starts to digest the food and understand that I'm not actually hungry anymore.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now, before I was like, I could
because they say
eat.
it takes 20 minutes, like for your stomach lining to secrete the whatever hormone that like tells you you're sated.
Yeah.
And like, but we just keep, in 20 minutes, I could do a lot of fucking damage.
I eat
whatever.
very fast. That's my other problem.
That's another thing too. Another thing that I've
Take my
seen.
time.
I do too.
I
I'm not a
enjoy my
fast eater.
food.
One, just there
Look
chip
at
by
this,
chip.
Look at this snow pea. I'm just gonna eat this snow pea.
He builds little houses
Whoa,
out of his
whoa,
mashed
whoa.
potatoes.
Cut that in half. You don't want to choke.
The other thing I've seen people do that I really like is reframing, where they'll say to themselves, they'll check in with their body. And I guess this goes back to that idea of intuitive eating, where they'll say, you know what, I'm not hungry, I'm bored. And they'll reframe it right there and say, I'm hungry, I'm going to get, no. And they'll check in with their body and go, no, you know what, I'm not hungry, I'm bored. That's what I am right now. Let me go do something else interesting.
Or even like
lick these cookies.
Right.
That I'm not going to eat. I'm just
or
gonna,
even
just
like
going to
Just
lick
not
them.
like drink some ice water or something.
Drinking water does help.
Water
a lot.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that I've done too. Is I never tell myself no. I never say I can't have something.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's just it's punishing for the sake of punishing, and it's not effective anyway.
Yeah.
Because then you just end up doing it and feel bad about
So
it.
you self-flagellate with your whips and chains.
If I like try and what's the word? Yeah, like just tell myself restrict. Yeah, if I try and restrict, I will binge.
Yeah.
I will go find it later and I will binge.
Yeah, because then it's like, that felt really good. I feel terrible for what I've done. May as well do it some more.
Nick's
gonna
nod
it's
his boy.
Spiral. Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead, what I do is I never say that I'm not or that I can't have something. I'll just say, but I have to do this first. So I have to drink this container of water first because I haven't had enough water today. So I need to do this. I need to.
I have to think of one nice thing to say to Laura before I can do this. I'm going to do that.
I'm going to bed.
And that is why I weigh 85 pounds.
I haven't eaten in
I just
3 weeks.
refuse to do it.
I'm on a hunger strike.
I told the joke on Ice Cream Social the other day, but I'll tell it again here. It's fella is sitting there in the bedroom waiting on his wife to get ready, and wife comes in and says, "Honey, does this dress make me look fat?" And he says, "Well, I know this is a trick question. There is no right answer to that. So before I answer, you have to promise to not be mad at me no matter what I say." And she says, "Of course, honey, I promise." She says, "I'm fucking your sister."
Got her.
She can't be mad. That's the contract.
She said, "You didn't
damn
answer my
you."
question."
You
And
scoundrel.
yes.
Yes. And yes. You bitch. Great question, Heyo.
Fat makes
Thank
you
you
look fat.
for the feedback on this one. It's a fun one to kind of be prompted and to get to run in our separate directions, but a lot of people relate. I mean, food is
sure.
our first drug, so it's something we all relate to.
Oh, and don't get me started if other drugs are also involved.
Oh, no, that's a whole different thing.
Then it's a whole other
That's
thing.
a whole other thing. Let me
Whole
tell
different
ya.
can of beans.
I can't just do one bump. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're discussing reinforcing delusions on the internet. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanros, and Hannah Marie. I hope all these people are still.
I think they're still.
I have not checked in a
You should probably. There might be more of them. You should probably check.
No, I know when they leave and when they come in. Well, anyway, would you like to sponsor the show? Of course you would. Head on over to patreon.com/therapy and sign up to become a therapy producer.
Yep. So I've got two options. It's ladies' choice. We can do. Yeah. Pew pew. There you go.
I'm Whitney.
Texas. So you can choose a continuation of geography.
That was super fun.
This week would be world geography. Last
Nick
week
was
we
like
did
Rain Man with
the
us.
United States. So we could do that. Or I've got brands which became the name of the product. And so I'm going to give you 3 decoys and the real one, and you have to guess which one is the actual one. So, Whitney, you get to pick.
Oh, I want the second one. The second one sounds more,
Does that sound
fun. I'm just trying to
You mean,
influence
like-
Whitney.
I know.
Well, I want the first one, so
Okay.
it's up to you now, Whitney.
So, Whitney, now you have to decide
What did you
also
say?
Sophie's choice.
which category do you want and who do you like more, Jacob or Nick?
That's
Oh,
right.
shit.
High
What
stakes.
did you
My
say?
feelings get hurt very easily. So.
And
I
he's
am
like,
vengeful.
Nick's like got his popcorn.
There is no way to win this.
What did you say the geography one was?
So it's world geography questions in which you have to guess my answer to them.
It's world geography. I want to do that one again.
Yeah, that
was
is a
a fun
good time.
time.
All right, same rules as last
Wait a minute.
time.
Oh, fuck you, Whitney.
I know.
Oh, there it is.
I'm
Yeah,
a real
forgot I'm
bitch.
angry at her. So
Save-
you can
save
take
that other one.
You can, yeah, I have it in here. You can take the obvious
throw it
answer, or you can try to guess Jim's for more points.
All right.
You can answer individually or as a team. First question, and also I got one of these right. I will not tell you which one.
Got a hint.
I got it right by getting it wrong. This will make more sense as we go.
Okay.
What is the name of the longest river in Africa?
And this is what we guess what Jim's answer.
Yes. Yeah. Or you could also lay up for the real answer.
Oh, shit.
I think-
I can't even imagine you being able to come up with.
I think Jim's gonna guess like the Nile.
Well,
I think the Nile might be right.
poker
And I think it
facing
is
this
right
time,
too.
too.
That's what I think. But
You're
I
not
think
giving
this
away
is the
yeah,
one
that's
you got
true.
right.
I think the Nile is the correct answer.
I'll tell you the one I got right. This wasn't it.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, damn,
Well,
because I
still
kind of thought that
I think the
too.
Nile is the right answer.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one
Well, the
I
Nile
did.
is the right
So I think
answer.
he said the Amazon.
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, you're right. He did say something.
Because that's the
like that.
only river outside the United States he would be
That's
able to
not the
name.
Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And he knows it's not the Mississippi River.
Oh man,
Okay.
I kind of want to
I'm
guess
I'm really
Amazon
trying to do
now.
better with my poker face this time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm
I'm
just trying
gonna-
not to make
Because I
eye
think the
contact.
Nile is right.
I'm
I'm
locking
just
in
looking
Amazon.
down.
Oh, are we not a
gonna-
team?
I
I'm
got
gonna-
Amazon.
I'm going to lock in Amazon as well.
Did you go Nile?
I'm gonna say Nile because that was my first.
Yeah, it was
instinct.
Amazon.
Yeah.
That's
Good call.
the only other river I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
So, and the Colorado.
You've never heard of the Nile?
No. Yeah, you've heard of other rivers
Like-
in the United States.
It's in the
Yeah.
Bible. You went to fucking.
It's Egypt. That's the river.
Yeah,
but
that's one
that's
with the
part of that.
plagues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like
God.
it turned to
Egypt's-
blood.
But
Worst
Egypt's not in
question.
Africa. It's in the Middle East.
But you got it right.
So anyway,
Egypt's not in Africa.
good job. You
Okay.
guys get 2 points. Well done. This one I got right. What is the
Okay.
capital of Mexico?
Mexico
Mexico
City.
City.
Yeah, but I got it right because,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Guessed
Mexico
Mexico
fucking
City.
City.
Yeah.
That sounds right. And
The
I was like,
obvious
holy shit, I
guess.
was right.
Hey, Jim, name another city in Mexico.
Nope. Here's the next question. What is the capital of Canada?
Oh, I know you got this one wrong.
You said Toronto. Yeah.
I'll go with Toronto.
Canada City.
Canada.
Yeah, you're fucking with us now.
I don't know what
You're not that dumb. Not even you.
it worked for Mexico. Why wouldn't it work on the next one? I saw it. I was like,
gosh.
oh shit, these are easy. Just say that thing. What is the name of the largest country in the world?
By
Africa.
space.
United States. Is what he's gonna say. The
Okay,
largest
yeah, I
country
mean,
in the
like,
world.
is it even a country?
Right.
Do you guys know the real answer?
Well, you still haven't
Largest
answered
country in
my
the world?
question. Is it
Oh, I'm
by
sorry.
area?
Oh, my answer?
No, by area?
Is the question asking by area or by
It
population
just said
or
what is the name of the largest country in the
So I
world?
guess area.
Probably
All right.
area.
Yeah. Okay, Jim thought area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
gonna
think
say, like,
the right answer is
Antarctica?
Russia.
I was going to say Russia as well.
Oh, the legal answer is Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
The
is
real
legal
answer is Russia. Yeah. I'm not convinced that he didn't say Africa.
Africa
a
sounds
good
right.
guess.
Canada sounds right.
But Canada's a country.
Yeah, he could have gotten
So
lucky.
looking at it now, my answer is not a country. But knee jerk, I was like, oh, this one. And then later I was like, oh, fuck, that's not a country.
Is it a continent?
Europe?
Or did he say
Is it a
Asia?
But I
continent?
went with the first thing I wrote. So
Yeah, it's gonna be like Asia or Antarctica or something.
Oof. I'm gonna go with.
Nick's our Rain Man.
I mean,
Come on.
Africa sounds right,
Africa's a good guess.
but
It's not a country.
Hey, there's
I'm just not
Asia,
feeling it. I'm gonna say
Africa.
I'm gonna say Europe. No, I think he would know Europe's not a fucking country.
And not the biggest.
Asia,
just sitting
Oh
here
my
trying not to
God.
make eye contact.
I
with
know.
everybody.
I think
just looking in every other direction.
Asia he could legit.
I'm just
think
staring
as a
at
country.
Jim.
No,
I know.
I'm just looking down at my.
I'm gonna go with Asia.
All right, I'll go Africa.
I'm gonna go Antarctica.
It was Asia.
Damn.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well done, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. I
That
think
was a
that
tough
Killing
one.
it.
That was a
you're
tough
off
one.
to the lead.
All right.
It's
very
tough to
good.
know which ways that you're going to be stupid.
That's it.
Yeah.
Which
I
direction?
fucking got Mexico City. I slam dunked that
No,
shit.
You didn't slam dunk.
No, you
it.
know, you tripped and fell, and the
Yeah.
ball.
It
It was
Yeah.
went
really
into
funny
the-
because I was so lazy. I was like, fucking Mexico City. And I was like, no fucking way.
Jim's like,
And I was like, I'm just going to keep doing that. Canada City. No. Anyway. All right. Reinforcing delusions on the internet. Hey, y'all. Got another internet-related question for you today. A few years ago, I found out there are communities on Reddit that, from the outside looking in, look like people suffering from delusions congregating and sharing notes. I don't want this to be voyeuristic, look at these people thing, so it's probably better not to publicize the community names, but if you therapists want to check it out, they can be found
It's
here.
the Pod Therapy Discord.
Yeah, and then there, yeah, exactly. Just go to the Discord.
Yep.
It's all there. Oh wow, those are interesting. There are a few other similar communities, and all have the same tone of users reinforcing each other's belief in a pretty common delusion. My main question is, how big of a problem could true echo chambers like these become? Is it something forum sites should prevent themselves? Something therapists should be aware of? Or is it an unavoidable effect of having an internet connection? All the best. Say hi to the ducklings for me, Whitney. Plebeian J.
Oh, the
Pronouns are
ducklings are
he and
dead.
him. So, a couple of examples of
Oh,
this.
Whitney is hurt.
The
These
ducklings died.
subcategories might be like flat Earth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like another delusional echo chamber.
We actually talked about this a little bit in the Patreon today.
Yes.
When you run across something online that reinforces your already held belief,
There you go.
just
That-
perfectly.
We're all
it's-
being
it's
persecuted.
Probably not true.
Right. There's a global, a conspiracy, the Illuminati, whatever it is. But yeah, these subreddits
more
are very
delusional.
specific.
Yeah, I went and
Yeah.
looked them up because
know.
I didn't even know what they were.
So like
talking
chemtrails is
about.
another example
Oh, yeah.
where people are absolutely convinced that these are poisoning the public and doing something, and like the government is causing cancer.
Yeah, or
mean,
it's like the 5G. You remember when 5G came out? Everyone's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's gonna
Well,
like
5G caused COVID.
Yeah, there
Remember
was
that? That was a big
yeah.
part of that was a
Okay.
big part of
Oh,
5G.
the whole
with
COVID thing
yeah.
is a fun experiment in group delusion.
Yeah.
They're like what's that guy's name? Bill Gates, Microsoft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
they're like he's putting microchips in
Yes,
the vaccines.
This is kind of a good example
To
too,
control
yeah.
your mind.
But then
Yeah.
imagine you
But
have
then people didn't realize that your brain isn't in your arm. That was problematic.
Maybe not yours.
You didn't get the injection in your head? Yeah, my doctor just
Right. The
well,
temple.
when they test you, they go up your nose. That's pretty close to your brain.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
starting to figure
You're
it out.
welcome, everyone
right.
on the
Yeah,
internet.
there you go.
So
But no-
should websites like get rid of this stuff?
my gut response to that, as someone who puts out a lot of internet nonsense.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, let me rephrase that.
I was like,
As
what?
someone who puts out a lot of nonsense on the internet.
There it
Okay,
is. Yeah.
okay.
My gut response is no. Like, I'm also not mad if they do. How about this? I don't think websites should be forced to by a government.
Yeah.
But that's the like libertarian lean in me
Sure.
saying
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just because I
almost
don't,
like a
I don't know who's
private-
going to be in charge of that, and I'm probably not going to be happy with whoever's in charge of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to happen.
Yeah. It's almost like a business that's like, we don't want your service. They have a right to refuse service.
Right.
It's kind of like that, like if it's their company.
Yeah.
That was
But,
always
like,
interesting
yeah.
to me.
But I would like to see websites police this type of thing on their own in a way that I would like. which I don't really know what that looks like either.
Yeah.
See, this
That's
gets
a
weird
fair
because
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it like that's a weird rabbit hole to go
and
down.
who gets
in
to
and
be
of
the
itself.
arbiter?
Right.
Like, I mean,
Like if I'm the arbiter,
Right.
then I'm fine with it.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, pick another delusion, religion. You
Yeah.
know, like there's going to be subreddits that are just like, hey, this religion. And like people are like, yep, you know, this sounds like a great idea. This is probably all true. And like, we all believe we're persecuted or whatever. And like, they're interpreting everything through that lens. Are we meant to like stop them from thinking that or correcting them? Like,
Right.
there's a thin line between culture.
Or that they're literally eating the Messiah.
There's that too.
Yeah.
You know, which I prefer the Parmesan Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very delicious.
I just recently,
Crispy.
this is making me think of a documentary I just watched on HBO, Love Has Won, with the mother god.
Yes, I watched that a few
Oh
months
my
ago.
gosh, so interesting. But when we were talking about like delusions and how it ties into just religion and stuff, it's
Right.
like really interesting. But
They're kissing cousins at the very least.
yeah, I'm kind of on board with Jacob a little bit, and it's really hard to say that out loud because I know most people are like, no, free speech, this and that, and I'm like, oh yeah, but as somebody who deals with psychology, you're like, our brains
It's
are
not
very
great.
like, yeah,
It's not
like,
healthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy. It's like,
Will you challenge a patient if they have? So, like, pick something like chemtrails. They're like, "Hey, I'm really worried about chemtrails. Have you heard about that?" And you're like, "Okay." And like, do you feel the need to like educate them?
okay, no, I just had a friend. She works in mental health. We'll just say that and keep it vague. But one of her clients she works with, very like normal and I say normal for the population, very
Yeah.
typical, just a normal human out there, deals with their own stuff, whatever. But then also will be like, my neighbor is like spying on me.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
like, they're coming in my apartment.
Oh, wow.
Like the wall, they're like listening through the walls. They've come and installed things in the walls,
Okay.
and like I hear this banging in the walls, like they're in the walls. It's like a very, very like
jump the lane here.
that's
Specific.
Now
not
we're into
happening.
paranoia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like trying to challenge the, and she did
Yeah.
ask me. She's like, "What would you do? Would you like?"
Of course,
Try-
that is the
Right.
the origin of the term gaslighting. Is the story is the woman's husband was gaslighting her and making her believe that all of that was not true, and then it turned out to all be true.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think her neighbor is in the wall.
Oh, okay.
That's my way of saying that.
Yeah. So yeah, it
Solid
was,
position.
Yep.
It's the high ground.
my opinion in that situation.
I believe women.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, great. You know what? I'm with Jacob now. I'm very persuaded.
I know, I'm
I'd
like-
like to switch teams.
I'm like, it's
I
kind
feel like that's one of those things that if you have to say it, it's not true.
Yeah.
But they were like
Especially if
really.
you have to say it loudly.
This person is like a case manager, and so they're dealing with the client trying to help them get services, and so the
yeah.
person's distraught, and she's like, "Gosh, how do I help them go get help for
Right.
this?" And so I told her my opinion at the time was kind of go with it, and like, okay, someone's in the walls, or they've implanted like what kind of like what can you do about it? I mean, that's very oversimplified, but
Right.
yeah, almost like,
There's
well, what
a
does that mean
neutral-
for you?
Yeah, like instead of like necessarily getting into the fact, the true false of it, just say, "Oh my gosh, that must be so
Yes.
frightening to feel like that."
Makes
It
sense why you
is.
can't sleep.
How do you sleep at night? I mean, just like really getting to know you based on your perception, but like skillfully never saying that's definitely happening or that's not happening.
yes.
But just to say, wow,
Kinda
what is that
neutral.
like for you? Have you interacted with her? What's she like? Oh, she's very nice in person? Huh. So, I mean, I guess if this is happening, why? What's her motive? You know, and just like
Yeah.
helping them like lightly question it
Yeah.
without hardcore challenging.
It's like
it.
a little bit validating to them because you're not challenging it,
You
but
seem
you're not
curious.
saying,
Yeah.
you're not saying, yes, I agree with you. I hear that too.
Yeah,
like that
you're
banging
not
on the wall or whatever.
encouraging delusion. But also, I think that one of the things that we learn very quickly in mental health is like, I mean, except in cases where there is like a hardcore paranoid delusion, like probably with this person's, and they need treatment for that, which really the best treatment is probably going to be medicinal at that point. For a lot of our people that come in and they're like, you know, pick your poison. Like during the whole COVID crisis and like the hyper partisanship of the Trump times,
Yeah.
I'd have people that would come in and say, oh my God, can you believe Biden stole the election? President Trump is going to have a revolution. We're all going to end up in a war. There's going to be a civil war.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Not have to. gets
to. That's right.
Jacob's
Glass
ready.
half full. But like it wasn't my job to try to be the newsman, or to try to educate on what is truth, and did this person lie to you, and are they calling for a violent overthrow of the government? And that's silly, right? Because that's not patient focused. So I just hear that and go, gosh, it is really scary out there. How are you holding up? How are you dealing with that? And I think that same thing is true here.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because they ask, like, what if you're in that echo chamber? So what if you did show up to that person's apartment and you're like, yeah, I totally hear that. You know what? I hear them in my apartment also.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
which
shit.
I think is a thing, because, like, you'll have therapists that are like pick your interest group, like crunchy therapists, that are, like, kind of hippy-dippy and, like, really, really ultra-healthy. And then if, that patient sits down and is like, I'm really worried about the 5G thing. And the therapist's like, me fucking too. And that's why I carry around this amethyst.
Yeah, here's your foil
This is
hat.
going to protect us. Quick, hold this crystal with me. And, like, that could happen too.
I totally got y'all something from New Orleans and forgot to bring it till just now. I'll bring it next week.
Oh, that reminds me. There's mail. I put it in my truck and then I didn't bring my truck.
There you go.
All right, next
Okay.
week.
There you
Okay,
go.
sorry.
Yeah, we're doing
sidetrack.
great, everybody.
Yeah.
Good job.
Wow. We're
Great
all just
episode.
nailing it.
So if you sent mail into the show last week, we didn't record a show last week. We had a bank show that aired last week, and then I didn't bring it with me this week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
We'll get around to
But
it.
yeah, the echo chamber. Ooh.
See, this is the echo chamber thing is the thing out of all of this that worries me the most.
Yeah.
And I'm not really doing clinical work anymore, but if I was, this is the thing I'd be most concerned with. Because on one hand, I kind of feel like echo chambers in some sense have always been around. They've always existed when we think of like
Absolutely.
things like culture, because I think of my hometown, town of 2,000 people. We got one town cop. Everybody knows him.
Barney
Yeah.
Fife.
Yeah, really, honestly. Everybody knows him.
A wooden gun.
He hangs out in town. We all know him personally on an individual level. He plays
text
golf
him,
at the
someone
country
broke in
club.
the
You have
Like
2,000 people, but you still
Yeah.
manage to have a country club.
it's
You guys don't have like indoor plumbing, but
it's
you
a
built a golf
municipal
course.
golf
Yeah,
course.
all the
Let's not get
surroundings.
carried away with it.
It's called.
not,
It has country club in the name.
Yes, exactly.
There's no O in country.
No, it's just that you have to pay a membership, and it's like $12 a year.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that like everybody knows who this person is. So when a story breaks about somebody getting killed by a cop,
It's him.
well, no, everybody in our town would just automatically think, well, that guy must have done something wrong.
Oh, because our cop is
because
nice.
the police
Yeah.
are great. But it's not that they're making that connection.
Right.
It's not something that they're actually consciously thinking about. It's a filter
Right.
that has been created that they see the world through.
Yeah.
So our experiences create these filters. So in that sense, like echo chambers have always been there because these small groups of people, we talk to each other, everybody knows each other.
Right.
And we just reinforce these ideas.
Yeah.
So in one sense, I kind of had hope. I was optimistic that like, okay, well, the internet is here. We're going to get more connected. We're going to start to experience
the truth will bubble
new
up to the
things
top.
outside of our small little bubble.
Right.
But what has happened is, you get that, but then you also
Isolates
people
almost.
in other bubbles get louder.
Yes.
And then so now I can choose my bubble that I want to go
Now
into.
you can find bubbles you didn't know existed.
Exactly.
And it's funny because humans are so interestingly inherently tribal that like it does not matter what it is. We invent sports and then invent teams and give those teams colors and then we'll fucking die for that bear on that jersey.
Yeah.
And like
So
my
true.
team means something and your team can eat shit.
And no
Let's
one
all
on that
pretend.
and no one on that team is from that city.
Not one of them. We hired them all from other places.
That's what gets me.
Or like even video games. Like there are these console like debates. Like the people on PlayStation don't talk to the people on Xbox, and the PC people don't talk to anybody, and the Nintendo people. It's real amazing. But like you're right. Like there's such a deep tribalism. We all, I think, inherently do it to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean, even just people that you choose to associate with. Like everybody in this room, we all pretty much have similar politics. Like, but if like one of us was like, no, the election was stolen, Donald Trump is the real president, it would be an awkward, that person
Yeah.
might eventually feel like these aren't my people.
That
You
was
know,
a
like, I
weird
don't
few
feel-
days. with that other host.
Who did y'all have in
right
here?
before Whitney.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Her name was Mercedes.
Yeah,
you might have
yeah,
heard her on a couple of shows.
Mostly in the morning. She's an early riser.
Now, this is something that I think we as therapists need to be aware of.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue how to address it.
I don't want it to be
I don't-
regulated.
Yeah, well, I mean, the regulation thing is probably above our pay grade. That's we have opinions on that.
So's
as,
a valet
as
at the MGM,
taxpayers,
though.
but
So.
I mean, as therapists, I don't know as if we have a hard stance on that. But I think it becomes. I don't know as if there's a really good way that we've really figured out yet
Yeah.
how to address that. I think it's really a case by case basis
Yeah.
in each individual, and why it's so important to know your client.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think if you get into like the regulation of information and truth, in the beginning, I think that starts with a good spirit, but over time, I think when societies kind of get carried away with that, then there becomes one official narrative, and that's the narrative. And like you go to Russia, and like you're not allowed to discuss, did we invade fucking Ukraine? And it's like, no, we're denazifying Ukraine for this very special limited mission that's been going on for 2 years. Did he kill Alexei Navalny? No. Navalny just died. Natural causes. Everybody's very happy.
He tripped and fell.
He tripped and fell on that knife. So like it becomes outrageous. So as a general rule, I'd rather give humans the freedom to find information, the freedom to believe what they want to believe, and then also the freedom to experience the consequences of those beliefs. If you walk around mouthing off about chemtrails and say you won't go outside anymore or whatever, like, okay, unfortunately, there's going to be consequences for that. You're going to lose your job. Bad things are going to happen.
It's not the thing you want to bring up in a job interview.
No, probably not. So, but then maybe you end up in therapy and we might not tell you that's not true, but we'll help you experience the discomfort to the point where you're willing to question some of your conclusions because those conclusions are incompatible with continuing to function in society.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you join a cult. Both are options.
Yep.
Both are very good options.
Yep.
Join a cult. please,
Mother
be enjoyed.
God.
Which you almost have, being a part of our Discord. You're pretty damn close to a cult. So, yeah, just keep going. You'll get there.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come
do you
back...
guys know the merch that's at Scoop Fest this year? Robes.
Oh, yes. Finally.
I
That
did hear
say
about
not
this.
a cult.
That's fantastic. That's
I'm
Very
really looking forward to
choices.
several hundred people
Oh,
walking
yeah.
around the
With
Orleans
robes.
in,
Oh my
in
God.
robes that say not a cult.
Oh, that's going to be
Oh
so
my
great.
gosh. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's so good. Great idea.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Wow.
so funny. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to spice this show up by talking about suicidal ideation. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Harris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swadros, and Hannah Marie. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy.
All right, Nick's in the lead, but it is competitive, and I think everybody's starting to get their bearings on this one. Next, global geography question. You guess Jim's answer, you get bonus points. Which country is also called the Netherlands?
Oh. Australia. Yep. I just got it in one. He's laughing at it. It's Australia.
I don't know how to react to any of this. I never know what the right thing is anymore.
Well, my first thought is, again, like the first question always has to be, is his answer actually a country?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or is he going to make something up?
Yeah.
But obviously it's Australia.
Okay. I don't know what to do, guys. It's a podcast, so I'm responding in audio ways.
I feel like
I don't know how to give. I'm not trying to give clues.
I mean, I think I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that would possibly be.
What do you say, like Switzerland? Or is that too close?
Nah,
I
here's
don't
my
think so.
gym
I
math.
don't think he
Yeah,
knows.
tell me, Jim.
Show the math.
Let me give you my gym math
Walk
out
me
loud.
backwards. Go.
Yeah. He's thinking like nether regions.
Like far
regions
away.
that are far removed from other places. Australia is pretty fucking far removed from other places.
This is a
Hence,
solid math.
Australia is the Netherlands.
A
Solid
Netherlands
math.
stew sounds like something that would be at Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on the menu next to the Bloomin' Onion.
Yes,
Math
it
is
does.
this
God,
is why I
Bloomin'
picked
Onion.
this one. I want to hear the
Do I
math
want the
behind
Bloomin'
all of
Onion
these.
or the Netherlands stew?
Yeah.
That's honestly. Don't they have a steak that's
Oh,
called
the
the Nether?
Netherlands?
I don't even know. But damn, I want onion rings.
I'm just gonna say Europe. We're going
Solid.
with Europe.
Solid.
All right.
That's honestly a very.
I'll go with Australia.
We got two Australias.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I said Amsterdam?
Oh, I was gonna say Amsterdam.
I guess the
but-
right answer was Holland,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which I don't know what Holland
but I
is.
thought Amsterdam was way too close. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna guess that.
You know how I know this? Daniel by night
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Instagram. He hangs out. He lives in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Oh.
which is
Oh.
the city.
Yeah.
It is a city.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just I know they have whores. Like
Okay.
that's all I know. And I know and I know they do mayonnaise fries. But that's all I
Those are
got.
the two things they're known for.
Yeah. That's
Oh
all I
my
got.
gosh.
But yeah, in the canals or something. I remember in Ocean's 12 they robbed it or something. Anyway.
Wow.
That's the Venetian
okay.
Casino.
Yeah,
I'm
this is
impressed
how-
you
this
guys
is how I
that
get to
close.
things.
Yeah.
What country does the Rhine River run through?
Okay. Real answer is Germany.
Yes, that is the legal answer.
What did Jim
What
put?
country does the Rhine? Okay, so let's think about this, team.
Africa.
So earlier,
Going back to that.
the only other river outside of the U.S. that he knew was the Amazon.
Yeah.
And he did think that was in Africa.
And Rhine doesn't really sound like, you know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
have like a sound, like a
Not unless
dialect.
you say it with a German. Rhine!
Rhine?
Well,
I could-
you just gave yourself a clue because I know World War II shit because I've watched Band of Brothers and other World War
But
II
you didn't know
things.
any other rivers.
So I've heard the word Rhine before,
Okay.
and I know it has something to do with tanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Europe.
That's what I was going to say then. Europe.
Yeah,
If it's
this might
World
be
War
Europe.
II.
I could see.
Or is he going to say like England?
I was gonna say England because I could see him thinking it's in London.
Or France. Does he knows that the it's France.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
fuck.
France.
All right, France. We're all
France. Because he
guessing.
knows the Nazis occupied France.
Fuck yes, it's
Yeah.
France.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah. I was like, oh, the Rhine place. That's where the bad guys went.
Yeah.
They went through the Rhineland.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
All right.
yep, I definitely said France. Where was the Lord of the Rings trilogy filmed?
Hollywood. Lot 22A.
Yeah, he's right. So fuck it. That's
Just
done.
Hollywood.
Yeah, the legal answer, if everybody's wondering, is
New
New
Zealand.
Zealand,
New
apparently.
Zealand.
Yeah.
But
You didn't
yeah,
know
just
that?
like, well,
Oh
that's
my
a movie. Just fucking, yeah, they did
Yeah.
that in
Nice,
LA.
Jacob.
That's where movies are made.
So what country? And your answer was L.A.
Yeah, California. Did it say
I mean-
country?
California.
It just said where. It said where was Lord of the Rings
Oh.
filmed.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I said LA.
All right. Yeah.
Very good, Jacob. That is impressive.
That was.
All right, what is
I think Jacob's cracked the code.
He is.
Yeah.
He's got his.
what is the
gym
name
math
of the
down.
world's largest island?
Bruce. Stefan.
Hawaii.
Again,
Oh, that's pretty good. Hawaii's pretty good. For a long time, I feel like this answer has changed in my lifetime. For a long time, this answer, I think, people would say Australia
Yeah.
is the largest island,
That was my first thought.
and now I believe that the answer is Greenland.
Legal answer is Greenland.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I would have guessed Australia.
I'm going to guess. And the only reason Jim wouldn't say this as an answer is because he didn't think of it. I'm going to go with Madagascar.
I'm just gonna go with Australia. I see the smile though at Madagascar. So.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
and here's my
Because the
math.
cartoon movie,
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
like the cartoon movie.
Yes. Because it's got a
Yeah.
cartoon movie.
What did you said? England?
No, he
No,
wouldn't
I don't
have
think
known
he said
that was an
England.
island.
Yeah, I'm with Nick. Madagascar.
Jim's answer was Australia.
Yes, I finally am on the
wow.
board.
I watch a lot of Bluey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bluey.
So
Oh,
yeah.
I'm aware.
Bluey.
Yeah. Last question. What is the only country that borders the United Kingdom?
Scotland. Borders the United Kingdom.
Well, it would be the correct answer would be Ireland.
Yeah, the legal
Yeah.
answer, it turns out, is Ireland.
Yeah.
Is he gonna say like France or something?
I would
think he
say he's going to say England. I think.
Oh, because you said United Kingdom.
Yes.
Shit, you're right. God, I
think he's
cannot
gonna
get
say
in Jim's head. I cannot
Yeah.
get to that level.
England's
It's
pretty
too hard.
good. Like Russia.
I could see France.
I know, but England's a really good guess. He's gonna say England.
I could see Scotland. I
Yeah.
mean, any of the countries within the UK, I could see him.
I think Russia. I think he said Russia.
Going all the way to Russia.
Yeah.
I'm going with
We got
England.
one
that
Russia.
Nick said.
Where are you going with?
I'm going with England.
What are you going with?
Yeah, I'll take Scotland. If you're going to go
Okay.
England, I'll go
Okay.
Scotland.
I answered England. Yeah.
Fuck, I had it.
I was like,
You
oh,
did.
UK. That's
And
where
I
they
came
speak
up with
English.
it.
You did. I took your
Yeah.
answer. I said Scotland
Okay, I came up with
first.
Asia. I came up with Asia in the first round.
Yeah.
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 Then I
Sometimes you're
got
right
off of
there.
it.
You're
Yeah.
looking right at it, and you're like,
Yep.
no, that
Yep.
can't be where it is.
No.
And then it's that one.
He has a college education.
Good job,
He
everybody. I
used to
have
have
one.
a PhD.
I
Some
lost
college
it.
education.
I
Yeah.
have nothing.
You still have a master's.
Yeah, for now, until I have to go double or nothing to
Yeah.
get back my doctorate. Good job, everybody. I think it's probably pretty close to a tie. It was very competitive.
tie-ish.
So we'll call it that.
I
Yeah.
mean, we all know there's only one loser in this game.
This is, yeah. Wait, what?
Yep. Yep.
All right, buckle up. We're getting in deep. Concerning
Jim, real quick
ideations-
before we move on.
Yes.
What country did
we go.
Thai food originate in?
Asia.
All right, move on.
All right.
Here we go.
Jim,
Concerning
we need to work on these continents.
Yeah,
things.
the country, continents, and cities.
Yes. I think that's where we
concerning
need to start.
ideation. I'm not wrong.
Yes.
It's Asia.
No, you are. Is Asia a country?
There's probably suburbs, but like, who cares? It's all Asia. That's where
I
the
live
noodles
in a
come from, man.
suburb of Asia.
That's where they're all at. That's where the orange chicken comes from. Concerning ideation,
Just raise them different over there.
that's how it's done. Hey, PT team. Thanks in advance for your crass humor on difficult topics. I'm in my 20s and have been debating on bringing this up.
Good for you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for that, being in your 20s. I've been debating bringing this up with my current therapist, which I'm sure you'll encourage me to do, but want to talk/hear about it first in an anonymous format. My first bout of depression was as a child, around 12 years old. Shortly after, it came out that I was being sexually abused by a family member. Thankfully removed, no further abuse or contact. My depression has always presented with suicidal ideations, which I've addressed and handled with therapists as an adult, never going past third base. However, I've never brought up homicidal ideations with my therapists. Starting from when I was in my early teens, I would self-soothe my anger or rage issues by fantasizing and planning out harm in varying degrees to other humans. Yes, sometimes on larger scales. This started in middle school by researching torture techniques, what a treat, eh? And escalated from there. I've never carried these out, or honestly planned to carry them out, but always found it soothing in a way to direct my rage toward creating a scenario in my mind where I can act on that impulse. As an adult, I can handle my rage and anger better and don't go down this path as often, but it still comes up more often in my mind than I'd like. By this, I'm referring to my mind, calmly and without malice, thinking critically and in detail on how to harm other people, not on a mass scale. This is more than the call of the void type of feeling where a flash or urge comes up randomly, such as hitting someone in the head with my coffee cup as I walk past them in a hallway. I still find it has a calming effect for stress and anger, dealing with idiots, but I definitely feel cagey due to harm to self or others being a primary reporting issue for therapists, let alone them seeing me differently. The main reason I bring this up as a concern is because it does bother me, and it gets to third base when I'm in a depressive state, similar at times to suicidal ideations. I don't feel like this is normal. It's one of the reasons I got my own psych degree, not my profession, as I was worried whether I was a sociopath when I was younger. Since then, I learned I was emotionally stunted and have found healthy and well-rounded social life as an adult, in part due to therapy. These homicidal ideations feel like some of the last remnants of a more troubled younger self that quite literally won't get out of my head. So, to parse this out, a few questions. 1. How common are these intense Homicidal Ideations.
Literally everyone does this all the time, constantly. Let's just move on.
2, how would someone bring...
Jacob, we need to talk.
And we're done.
It's a constant thought process that everyone
looking at me
has
very,
always.
very
Jacob's
scarily
like,
right
I
now.
drew this picture. How would someone bring There it goes. Number 2, how would someone bring this up with a therapist other than just blazing ahead? Number 3, what are some coping mechanisms for suicide or self-harm? Or I'm sorry, what are some coping mechanisms? For suicide or self-harm, you've mentioned holding ice or other tame yet painful tactics. In the past, I've resorted to throwing or breaking things, which helps. Rage rooms are expensive, but a potential option. But I don't want to be destructive. As a note to anyone else who may feel overwhelmed by these types of thoughts, it can and will get better if the core issues are addressed, hopefully with a therapist. Looking back, I was absolutely a potential hazard, assault or shootings, etc. But through connection with others, often forced from their end, kindness to and from others, and eventually finding help with therapists to address my sexual abuse, emotional immaturity, and emotional abuse, I grew as a human and found that life wasn't that bad. Maturing as an adult also helps immensely versus the hellhole that adolescence can be. I hope this isn't too dark and doesn't trigger folks. I didn't want to go into it too much on the ideations and real-world concerns to make it easier for listeners to tolerate. Thank you for the show and your answers, Anonymous.
Okay. Well, Whitney has a lot of good thoughts on this. Whitney, go ahead.
That I totally get the fear
Yeah.
of talking to a therapist about things like suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, and the concern of like, where's the line to where they're going to report? I don't know if you want to talk about this really quick or not, but the third base. I mean, in case there's any
just to
new...
recap.
Oh,
your
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Sorry.
So one of the ways that we talk about it on the show, just to simplify ideations in general, is to use a baseball analogy of first, second, and third base. So first base is sort of where we are having these thoughts in a passive way. I wish I were dead. Sometimes I just wish I could hurt somebody, or I imagine killing somebody. Those are just thoughts. They're not turning into actions. They're just showing up, right? So we call that first base. Second base is when we're starting to add some practical thinking of how we would accomplish this. So not just, I think I want to die, I think I want to end my life. Here's specifically how I would do that. And it's not fantasy, it's not wild, it's pretty practical. Homicidal ideation too can get to second base, where I'm imagining with what devices I would hurt people, what time of day, how I would accomplish this. Now again, I'm not plotting, I'm not planning, it's just that my fantasy or my thought about this is getting increasingly practical.
I would train a swarm of bees to obey my commands.
That
That's
is
not
one
practical.
move. Yeah, a lot of people don't anticipate.
I mean, it's
the
more
bee
practical
attack.
than you would think.
Yeah, you know, bees are pretty easy. They're very smart. I
Yeah.
saw this video with bees in like these little school desks, and they were like teaching them where directions are. It was really impressive.
That's
I don't
a
know if you
bug's
can make
life.
them tactical SWAT teams, but definitely they
Not
knew
with that
directions.
attitude.
Third base is whenever you are starting to plan the situation. Here's the when, here's the where, also I have the how, and my thoughts have become so increasingly practical and serious that at this point, I find that I am making a plan. And then passing third base and rounding toward home is this plan is getting really close to becoming action. And then, of course, getting to home base is that we are attempting some kind of action. So that's the summary of the baseball model, and the base is the writer's talking about.
Yeah, I want to. Thanks for going over that, because I feel like if there's anyone new listening, they may
Sure,
not know
yeah.
what they were referring to. So interestingly, I just met with a previous colleague who is getting her PhD and was studying at least suicide, and she was interviewing therapists who work in like private practice and asking, or with directly with clients, I should say, in some way. And a lot of her questions were basically like, how often are you talking to your clients or actually asking them like, hey, are you having any thoughts of ending your life or
Right.
harming others?
Are you waiting to hear about it, or are you bringing it up proactively?
Exactly. And, I admitted to her in our little interview, I was like, I mean, it's hard to say this out loud, but it is something that is a struggle sometimes because once your client has said something to you, you are responsible to some extent.
It's on the radar.
It's whether it's addressing it with them or reporting it or whatever you have to do. There are steps that need to be taken. And she did say she's like a large amount of clinicians that I've met with don't ask or clients that she's spoken to are like, yeah, my therapist doesn't ask me.
Okay.
It's almost like they want that to be a space. And, with the writer, they're not really saying I want my therapist to ask, but I wonder how much they would actually open up if their therapist had asked, especially if they have a history of at least suicidal thoughts, ideations, things like that. I guess I'm not surprised they haven't asked more, hearing the facts from talking to my previous colleague, but but yeah, it's a difficult thing, I think, even for experienced therapists to continue to address. I guess listening to the question, it's a little hard for me to feel out if the person is still like, is it a fantasy or is it like...
Sounds like there's still some ideation.
Yeah.
But they tell us that they've made tremendous progress. They're not where they once were. They're way back down on the basis scale. But yeah, they do still have thoughts.
But they have the thoughts. So for me, what I tell my clients, and I'm very upfront with them from day one, I'm like, I do want you to talk about if you're having any thoughts of harming yourself or harming others. This is a safe place. If you do share something that I'm concerned about or that I believe you actually are going to follow through, is what I tell them, with harming yourself, harming others, then I do have to report that. And I make it very clear with them, this is my personal policy, that I will include you in that. I'm not going to go behind your back and like you leave the office and I'm calling that. I mean, I don't know, unless I was worried they were a danger to me, I guess that maybe I would. But
there's always exceptions.
That would be like...
But for the most part.
But in general, my rule of thumb is like, I want to include you in that. Like, hey, I'm concerned for your safety. Right. Why don't we call together?
I love that. I do that same thing on the first session. So part of my like informed consent talk at the end, go over the bullet points. And that's one of them I talk about. Say, hey, we're going to talk a little bit about privacy. You've heard about therapists. I'm sure you're curious what we keep and what we don't keep. Anything we talk about is medical information. Anything we talk about is private. I will never talk about you without you. We're always a team. This is a safe place. There are some exceptions to that rule. None of them will surprise you. They have to do with life and death. And that is not a shock to you, right? And they're like, yeah, I get it. And you're like, so here are the life and death things. If I think that you are going to end your own life, I am going to save your life, right? I am your therapist. I'm a healthcare provider. I am not going to let you quit. So we're going to protect you. And I want that honesty. You can trust me not to overreact. We're just going to protect you together. Okay. Same thing for other people in your life. If there's a child in your home that's, you can't take care of right now, you're getting overwhelmed, maybe there's some abuse or neglect, we're going to protect the baby, which you'd want me to do, right? You're trusting me as a healthcare provider to help you, to help your family. If that's outside of your abilities right now, I sure as hell hope I'm the kind of person that can stand up for you and help. And same thing with other people in life. If you're thinking, man, I loaned $100 to my neighbor 3 years ago. That guy needs to pay me back. He never has. I'm going over there with a hammer, Jim, and I'm going to take him out right now. No, you're not. I'm going to stop you from doing that. We're going to protect your neighbor. I'm going to protect you. I don't want you to ruin your life. I don't want you to ruin their life. That's part of what I'm here to do.
I have to send a reminder to somebody right now.
So that's how I usually frame it.
That's a good way to frame it.
And I use some humor with it. That way folks go, I got you, man. But it also normalizes it to say to the writer or to the patient, hey, this is the place, right? If there was anybody in the world that this is you found the right door, this is the one we can talk about it. And I'm giving you a feel for my job is to stop it from happening. We can bring it in here though. And and this is an important piece of notice for the writer too. Assuming you're in America, our laws do not say that if you talk about it and you're having ideation about it, we need to call somebody. Because frankly, writer, there's nobody that would do anything about that. Like if I call Las Vegas Police Department, I say, hey, this is a wellness check. I have a patient. They've expressed that they have had thoughts of hurting themselves. The next thing the cops are going to say is, great, you're smarter than me. I don't know what to do about this. What do you want me to do, doc? And you're like,
or they have someone on their team who they'll like evaluate and say,
they might send somebody to a house check-in, but like usually they're going to go, great, are you legaling them? And to reach the minimum legal threshold for me to put you on a psychiatric hold, it requires a lot more than just you're talking about it.
Yes.
And another thing that we train new therapists in is if your patient shows up and is willing to be honest and transparent about these thoughts in therapy, that is a huge nod in the right direction. The fact that you're bringing it to me, confiding in me, and talking about it is strong evidence that it would not happen.
Right. They're
That is a
asking
good
for
clue.
help. They're saying, hey,
Yes.
I don't want to get there either.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm looking for help.
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, we did have an interesting case in California. I believe it's called the Tarasoff trial, where there was a patient who did have ideation about, murdering somebody specifically,
Yeah.
and that did come to pass. And so when that came to pass, the investigation revealed that this had been discussed in therapy ad nauseum. It had been very specific, and it had reached these levels that those who oversaw the case, the judge and the jury, they said, you know what? We can't have this much secrecy.
Yeah.
Like whenever your patient has told you, I am targeting this target, I'm going to hurt them on this day in this way, you need to have some rights here as a therapist to protect that potential victim and make sure nothing bad's going to happen.
Just
right?
as another human.
As
Like,
another human
yeah.
and as a professional. But
Yeah.
this was back during a time when we were a little fuzzy on what about privacy versus public interest. So that ruling gave guidance to all therapists exactly like when specifically we need to protect you, the patient, from doing something you're going to regret and protect the other person from something bad happening. And the same rules apply like suicidal ideation. Nobody gets arrested for thoughts. Thoughts are not crimes.
Yeah.
But in our world, the worst that could really happen, and again, this is pretty extreme, right? It doesn't happen very often, but just to lay it out there so that you don't have to be afraid of this. If you were suicidal and we thought, and you're like, I don't feel safe tonight, Whitney, I'm in a bad place. And Whitney would say, Jim, I would like permission to protect you. Can I protect you? I think we have a good relationship. We've been working together for a while. You trust me. I'm your therapist. You're opening up to me about this. Jim, can I protect you? And I'd say, yeah, I trust you. Thank you for watching over me. She'd say, great. And she'd say, let's call an ambulance together. I'm going to have you sleep it off in a hospital for a little while. I just want you to eat some Jell-O, chill out, and watch reruns of Law and Order. That's what you're going to do, man, because we're going to make sure nothing bad happens. We're going to let you cool off.
Wait, you can make me do that?
Yes.
Oh,
Psychiatric
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, we could just send you. It's a very
I've already
expensive
got
hotel.
him on speed dial.
Yeah,
I
trust
like
me.
Jell-O.
Yeah, Jell-O's not
Only-
bad. They
only
do take your
1,000 a night.
shoelaces.
1,000 a night.
No
Yeah.
shoelaces, no corners in the rooms.
fine.
But Ryder,
Shoes
the
I'm wearing right now
exact
don't have
same
laces
thing
anyway.
They
happens.
take your cell phone. It's great. You're cut
Yeah,
off.
you don't have to have cell phone. It's great. You can just eat lunch. They have group. You can bring your blankie to group. But same thing happens with homicidal ideation. So if the same thing happened and I told Whitney, hey, I've been having these scary thoughts. I'm getting to a place where part of me doesn't trust myself and I don't know if we're safe. Then that therapeutic relationship is there to protect me. Whitney is my healthcare provider. She's my therapist. So she will say, great, Jim, can I protect you from that happening? Can you trust me to take care of you and this other person because I don't want you to do something you're going to regret. You're being honest about it. You're telling me the truth. And I would say, yep. And she'd say, great. We're going to call an ambulance together and we're going to get you in there and we're going to check in for a little while, let you cool off, get these ideas out of your head and let's stabilize. So that's really the extent of it, Ryder. So a lot of people are out there, they're scared to tell us about thoughts like this. They're scared to tell us about suicidal ideation. And I appreciate a letter like this, even though I know the topic can make some people nervous. I appreciate a letter like this because it normalizes it for all the listeners. And there
Yes.
might be another person out there. It's like, oh God, I've had those exact thoughts. And like, I never want to admit it because I don't want anybody to be scared. And I get it. People will be frightened because violence is frightening. And it also shows us that this is worth getting help for. And I understand that you might not trust all of my colleagues or even me with this information if I was your therapist, because it's scary. And there's this fear of like, are you guys going to overreact? But I think as a general rule, when our patients are confiding in us and opening up about the truth and giving us permission to ask questions and explore this together, that encourages us. It makes us not feel as frightened. Same thing with suicidality. If you're talking about it, we are heading in the right direction. We're
Yeah.
doing treatment.
Yeah.
And that's always the right move.
Yeah.
As long as you are also willing to let us help you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in our professional judgment, we might say, you know what, my friend? I would feel a lot better for you if we could go ahead and escalate this. I think you've been ignoring this problem for a long time. I think it's time for us to get a little bit more support in this. And you know what? Be honest about some of this stuff. Maybe we should talk about medicine. Maybe we should talk about some options.
Yeah.
And you know what? Again, that's not
Typically,
prison.
those things are the most helpful too.
They
That's
can
like,
be, yes.
Yeah. But the first question, how common are these more intense ideations? I would say probably, I know Jacob might have been joking or not. I don't know. But
100% of
But,
people in my lived experience.
I know, but I'm like, they're not that uncommon.
Yeah,
Like,
not so uncommon that you'd be like, I'm the only person. You know, no.
Raging around at other
Bill
people.
Burr has made jokes. A lot of comedians have made jokes about how they just get these impulses to like end, you know, every dummy that they meet, and like, you know, I'm just gonna smash this guy or whatever. And the writer talked about the catharsis. You know, like a person that might have self-harm stuff maybe can do these alternate self-harm, like holding ice or pinching themselves, and they're activating some of that sense without causing any real damage or doing anything dangerous. And I think a person that deals with HI, homicidal ideation, very similarly, I've seen them play video games that are violent as a way to get it out.
Yeah.
I've seen them play specific music that's filled with rage and violent language, and there is like this indulgence of like the cathartic fantasy of it. But again, there's a divide between thoughts and actions. And again, it's an interesting dance because obviously with homicidal ideation or violent thinking, we don't necessarily know what your particular trigger could be in life. So it is your therapist's job to try to say, how do I feel your stress tolerances are? How thick are your shields right now? Because if you're really low, if your sort of psychic immune system is very compromised right now, and you could hurt somebody and ruin your life or theirs, I have a responsibility to put some shielding around you. And that might mean putting you in a onesie and letting you kind of stay the night at the hotel psychiatric to check in.
I would be really surprised if your therapist has never heard this from someone before.
Comes
I
up.
would be shocked if your therapist was surprised by this. That's a better way to phrase that.
It comes up.
As far as how to bring it up with your therapist, I mean, if you're really nervous about that, I would say if you wanted to just ask them like, hey, could you remind me of the policy on this? Because
can
that's
always
going
ask.
to,
Yep.
one, have them re-explain it to you so you're very clear on that understanding.
And you're both on the same page.
And you're both on the same page.
Yep.
And then she or he, they will ask probably a follow-up like, why do you ask that? So then it opens the door.
No reason.
No problem. Just wondering.
We're out of time.
Yeah, that's our time. I ask in the very last minute.
Yeah, definitely ask in the beginning.
Yes.
But yeah, it opens the door for them to kind of ask some follow-up questions, and maybe it's not all on you to just feel the pressure of laying all of those heavy things out there if you're kind of unsure.
I'm a big fan of forecasting something without necessarily talking about it. So I've had people say the question of, can I clarify the privacy policy about something? I'm like, yep. And does that tip me off that there's something in your mind? Sure. But we're not talking about it yet, so that's great. We're at least looking in the same direction. That's nice. But then I've also had people forecast it and say something like, Jim, there has been something on my mind, something that I'm a little bit frightened to tell you because I'm not sure what that would do. And I'm not ready to talk about it. But I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what the book says, but I'm willing to hold this book with no words on the cover
Yes.
and explain that I'm holding a book.
Yes.
And there's secrets inside.
Yeah, I've
and
had
that's a
clients do
great
that.
way to start because we can talk about the book now and
I
say,
can give you all
okay,
kinds of input. on
right.
what you're
Let's
vaguely
talk
telling.
about how does holding that book make you feel? How does it frighten you or does it make you feel ashamed? Frightens you. Okay, that's important for me to know.
Yep.
And you know, we're not just playing 20 questions like guess what's in the book. We're really just trying to help you feel more comfortable even taking a step toward talking about it.
Yeah.
And I've had people where they've hinted at it and we've said, okay. And I've told them, you know what? Don't open the book. I'm going to ask you not to. And they're okay. And we're like, great. But I do want to talk about it, but I don't want you to open it for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Not until you feel I've earned that. And they're like, okay. And like that really lets them go, oh, all right. So great. You're not going to push. I'm really not. We're going to move at your speed. Let me earn it. Let me show you that I don't overreact to stuff.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it together. But, you know, writer, just to kind of put a bow on this, I have had clients over the history of my career that had let me know that they were violent, that they wanted to be violent. And, you have a spectrum of people that are in this category. So, like, and I think you probably relate to this a little bit, Whitney, because you worked with
I'm
JSOs.
very violent. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're also just notoriously very violent.
Yeah.
But Nick also, so like Nick and I worked at rehabs that were funded by the state, that were kind of the last line of defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were getting people that had unchecked mental illnesses, that they were self-medicating with, really strong drugs, and they developed addictions around too. And sometimes we were dealing with people that did have a history of violence, and like this wasn't a homicidal ideation thing so much as it was they are badass gang members and they are capable of extreme violence very quickly with very little provocation. And they have the emotional, maturity, as this writer talked about, of like an 8-year-old. And they've been through hell. They've been traumatized. They've been abused. They've been arrested. They've been incarcerated. They've been taught by the system that violence is the only way to stay alive.
Yeah.
And like I've had situations like that. I remember once at the men's rehab on top of Mount Charleston, I was brand new and I didn't realize how many of this 48-bed program were men who had just been incarcerated and just been bussed up there as like a good behavior offer for them to go to this men's camp and get clean instead of staying in prison. There were gangs up there that were like, had a like peace agreement while they were there.
Yeah.
But and I didn't know that. And I was in this deeper water and I didn't realize how violent these dudes were. They were all, I was making them laugh and like we're getting along. And at one point I was teasing one of them and I called him a bitch. And it totally made sense in the context. Yeah, totally made sense in the context. And air
totally
left the room. And I did not get it. And I was like, oh.
Maybe you didn't hear me.
Maybe you didn't hear me. Let me try the joke again, you bitch. And so later, and like the guy I had called a bitch wasn't in the room. And so like later, he got, like the other people had given word back to him like, hey, Jobin called you a bitch. And like in his world, he has one option. Because they all heard it.
Right.
And even though I was his personal therapist and he liked me a lot, he was like, I have to go break this fucker's nose right now. Or I could be in danger. Like, I can't allow this to exist. So he came like...
So you had a nose cast on for pretend the next day?
Oh,
like,
yeah, right. He came
my
just like a bulldozer up to my office. People are scattered all over the camp. They see him like, just marching toward me like, oh, it's going down. Like they're not over there to watch, but like they're keeping a side eye. He throws my office door open and just walks in. I'm with somebody. I'm like, hey man. And he's like, he looks at the other guys, get the fuck out right now. And that guy's like, yep. And just like gets out and runs away. And I'm like, what is going on? And like he slams the door and then he looks at me and goes,
pretend like I'm yelling.
Jim, you are not very smart. I was like, what did I do? And he says, you called me a bitch in front of everybody. I was like, no, I didn't. I said something like, you're my bitch. Like, like a joke, man. Like, I say that to you all the time. He goes, you can say that to me privately. You cannot say that here. And he's like explaining it to me. He's like, this is a problem now.
Yeah.
And he's like, so we have to work on this. We have to make this right. But like, you have to understand that like, you can't fucking do this. And the only thing saving you is we've gotten really close.
Yeah.
I know your heart.
Yeah.
But like, that can't protect you all the time. Like, you need to fucking learn. So he's very nice. And I was like, okay, I will not say that anymore. He's like, okay, good.
And that was the last dumb thing Jim Jobin said.
I was just thinking, and then he's
this was
like,
also
have
the
you heard
same
my
camp where I put
geography?
that baby powder in the baggie.
Yeah.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
We haven't forgotten.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes rookie year.
love
But
the
yeah,
honesty.
so
And then didn't slow down.
my point of all that, homicidal ideation, I think, can take on different masks, right? Because you can be in a population where they are just violent people.
Yeah.
And like that can happen too. And like they have ideation that is violent and homicidal because they are capable of it. And like, but that is different than what the writer's talking about, where like they're fantasizing about it. So a good therapist, I think, knows how to put all that on a continuum to think to themselves, okay, there's one person here who has done it.
Yeah.
And there's another person here who's thinking about it cathartically as a way to get rid of stress when they feel picked on in life and they feel trapped and they're just like, I don't know, it's a fantasy that helps them feel more powerful. I'm like, okay, I can wrap my mind around that and know how far that is from third base.
Yeah.
And that can be really helpful too. But not if you don't talk about it, right? Because then we don't know anything. We can't help you.
Yeah. I like lastly that they just pointed out that there was like the maturity, the emotional immaturity that came with those really extreme reactions, because I think even when you're in a violent situation, it's like those are coming from that emotional immature place, and maybe it got you to somewhere like prison where now you have to keep up the facade even though you've changed because you're surviving. But I have seen with a lot of clients that are not incarcerated that I think that emotional immaturity is a pretty key component to the rage episodes. It's like something happened in your past, something you're still resolving or working on resolving. And yeah, it's just kind of a reaction because you don't know how to deal with those emotions yet, or you're still working on it. So
the only feedback I've got, on that front, with the emotions is really do your best to try to identify emotions that occur prior to the rage. I think a lot of people try to come up with coping skills to deal with rage, and that's tough to do.
Yeah,
because
once the
you're
rage is
in
there.
it.
Yeah, when you're in it, it's like it's trying to think logically in a completely illogical scenario.
Yeah, let me just go to my coping skills
Exactly.
when I'm red-faced.
I think what you need to do, I like using the snowball analogy, rolling down a hill. Like you got to intervene when that snowball is small.
Right.
You have to be, but to do so, you have to be able to recognize it.
Right.
So I think that's the first step, is being able to recognize those small snowballs, find healthy ways of intervening at that point, and not let that, get out of control.
I like that. Really quick, just because you mentioned mass violence, and I think we live in, sadly, an American society where everybody's always scared of that. I saw a terrible survey the other day that
violence at a Catholic church.
Those two. 25% of public schools have been on lockdown.
Sure.
In the last year. At some point, something has happened that's required schools to go on lockdown. And
one of them was because somebody lost the key.
That'll happen too.
Yeah.
And 40% of students have feared that there would be a shooting. And it's a silly and terrible reality that we live in. So I know that when people hear that letter, there's a little light bulb that goes off like, oh shit, And I'll tell you, Ryder, I had a patient once who did let me know that they had a plan to do a school shooting, and they had it all drawn up. And thank God they had decided to come in to get therapy because family found their plans and brought them into me. And of course, very quickly, we evaluated this. We got honest. We broke through. We got, some therapeutic rapport there. So this person felt like, okay, I can trust this dude. I'm just going to be truthful. And he was, thank goodness. And then together, we made a good treatment team that included doctors and included making sure that there was safety. But then together, we were able to create a great safety plan. And he ultimately did get some medicine, and that medicine changed his life. It took those thoughts away.
Yep.
And a month after getting on this medicine, I remember I'd been working with him for a while. I stuck with him for a year. And he did a brief stay at a hospital just to get stabilized for a minute and help the doctors speed up the medicine help to make sure everything was the right fit. But then later, I remember him looking at me and going, I look at my old writings. I look at the things I was thinking and the visions I had and what I wanted to do. And it's a different man. I do not feel like that is who I am. It's insane how different I am. Yeah. And mental illness takes a lot of different forms. That is one form it can take.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you have dark thoughts, you want to hurt people, you've entertained things that we see on the news, I want to tell you that mental health is the right door for you. And, I understand that not every single therapist is going to, know what to do in the right moment. But we are trained to collaborate with our teammates, and sometimes that is the hospital, to try to give you what we can. And so this writer finished their story by saying, hey, to anybody out there who's like me, this can get better. Don't give up. Don't give in. Get help. Yeah. And you know what? If we all do our jobs and if we're patient, and that's another thing, this writer stayed in therapy, stayed at it, didn't get discouraged, didn't get defeated, eventually things can get better. Great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in.
Well, as we wrap up the show, we want to remind you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy. You can get the extended show ad-free a day early, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community and our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. As you're hearing this episode, Nick, you released a new Monday installment of Patreon. I believe you did a deep dive, and what was your topic this week?
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you asked, because that deep dive was
Nick looks very tired right now.
I am so tired right now. Oh, shit. I just recorded it last night. What the hell was it?
I'm going through my emails now to find... There we go. That's all the time we got for this week's session.
Yep.
Except we've got to thank our new Therapals. Welcome, new Therapal Livy, and new Therapods Adam, KJ, Jameebe, Recreated, Big Nuts, and Gray. It's funny that as soon as Jim fixed the Patreon and stopped posting all my shit for free, all of a sudden a bunch of you upgraded to Therapods. Oh, I should have caught this a year ago. Thank you, though, sincerely for supporting the show. And we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much that they give till it hurts, the Therapy Partners. Thank you.
Can exercise be detrimental
There it
or
is.
ways people...
That
yeah, that's what it is. Sorry.
Dirty
Sorry, I had to
B,
look that up.
Myra, and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Therapy Producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr., Mint, Smitty, Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Mrs. and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley Slapping Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, University Jeff, Mike Helm, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar Falcon Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kaye, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, and Hannah Marie.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to
You're
patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
Texas.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. Come hang out with them and us in fabulous Las Vegas. Go to scoopfest.com and check it out. Don't forget to tag us all over the socials, wherever you can find us. Good luck. I'm not telling you where to do it. It's a mystery. And don't forget about all the extras at patreon.com/therapy.
And if you would like to submit a question to the show, ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Get the merch.